I want to bring you some words today in this sharing that I hope will help those of you that are feeling low self-worth, low self-esteem, lack of self-love, that may be arising in your experience as anxieties. It could be arising in your experience as depression. It could be arising in your experience as addictions. And all of the things that scale from sort of, as I said, mild anxieties all the way through to very severe that are holding you back in life and stopping you from moving forward and living this experience of life to the full. So the words that I kind of want to bring with you and share with you are a bit of a pointing to who you really are, because if you are feeling these and experiencing these feelings and thoughts that are telling you that you're not good enough, that you aren't lovable, then what you're experiencing in truth is a very strong sense of separation. A very strong sense of separation with who you are fundamentally and with who you are to others and to the environment around you. When we have a recognition that we are intrinsically one with all that is in our experience, that will be other forms in other people and the forms of objects in our environment. When we understand that we are one with all of that, that all is essentially consciousness, some may call that universe, some may call that awareness, some may call it God. But when we understand that there is only one being, and that being is a shared being, it is a being that we all are at the root, at the fundamental, at the base level, then there can be no more suffering, because suffering is caused by a sense of separation, because with a sense of separation comes fear. We've all been there. This is my experience as well. So I'm not speaking from a place of non-understanding. I'm just speaking from a place of new understanding, new perspectives. I had an awakening experience last year, which had been building up. I'd been seeing glimpses of much of this over the years, but this awakening experience gave me a brand new perspective of who I am. I suddenly found myself perceiving the world around me, and it was a very sudden awakening that had a sort of energetic feel about it. It was really, the best way I can describe it was sort of the final cracking open of my heart, which then allowed me to be fully who I am. So from that place of being, I understood myself to be the silence that love arises from. All that is manifested is arising from the silence that I am. So as that the manifestations arise, they arise, we say, from the heart, through the heart, as the heart, because the essence of those manifestations is love. I could see clearly that the person that I had thought of as being me, the I, actually was not the truth of who I truly am. So yes, the manifestation is also part of the all, part of the absolute, the I, the big I, God, universe. Yet it's not the fundamental of who you are. It's a manifestation of. And sometimes the manifestation can feel very real to us. So really what I'm saying here is that the person that we believe ourselves to be can hold thoughts and ideas and concepts and beliefs that we attach to and create that to be our identity. So we might say, I'm not good enough. That can manifest itself in many different ways in our thought process. So the I am not good enough thought. The I has attached itself to the not good enough. Yet that is not a truth. It's just a passing phase, because things come and go. Thoughts come and they go. The I is what's always left. The thoughts can arise, the thoughts can leave, but the I is always present. So therefore you're not that. You're not those thoughts. You are not unworthy. You are the I that observes the thoughts of unworthiness. So there's a process that we can take. And for me, since the awakening experience, I have for years gone through this process of feelings of low self-worth. This was something that I'd had to experience and endure as suffering within myself through, a really terrible relationship. It was reflecting to me in my external environment, this belief that I was not good enough. Since the awakening, although I was already, a long way through resolving that within myself, it has now become impossible for me to see myself in that way. I recognize myself for the love essence that I am, and that's what I see when I see all of you. These limiting beliefs and thoughts that we hold about ourselves. The analogy I tend to use or visualize that comes to mind is the idea of a very, very tight rope wrapped around our bodies, restricting us, binding us and holding us prisoner, essentially. So the way to process this and to begin the process of detaching from these ideas and thoughts and concepts that are not who we are is the relationship. It's using the tool of relationship. And we have a relationship not only with the other people in our lives, but we also have a relationship with all of the objective world. So when we begin to utilize that in the right way, so for example, you might have a boss that's telling you you're not good enough, you're not doing this the right way, you're not good enough. So we may decide to blame the boss and say, well, why is this person saying this? They're just out of order. I don't like them. We might put the blame outside. Instead, what I want everybody to sort of start to do is to turn the mirror inwards and understand, okay, there is some part of me that is triggered by what this person is saying about me. Therefore, there must be a belief in there that I am what this person is saying. I must believe myself to not be worthy. Is that true? Now, the more you try and fight against that with ideas of, I must think positive thoughts, I must eradicate this line of thinking's not helping me, I need to get rid of it. Really what you're doing, if you imagine yourself again in that analogy of being in that tightly wound rope, you're struggling inside that. And actually sometimes that can make it worse. Like how the seatbelt sometimes tightens the more you give it the resistance. It's the same thing. So you're actually trapping yourself more, rather than just allowing yourself to become the observer. So what I would like you to do is to try and practice being the observer. And I did this. This is what my life has been like for years. If there was an issue that was arising, I would take a look and turn that mirror around, look back at myself and say, okay, so this is the emotion that I'm experiencing. How do I look at this and understand that, to take responsibility for that emotion? So you allow it to arise and you sit with it. You don't lay blame elsewhere, you just hold it, and you hold space for that feeling, those thoughts to arise without you trying to push them away. And what you will see and what you will notice is that the thoughts come, the feelings come, and then they go. They leave. They're not permanent. They're just passing. So therefore it cannot be you. You cannot be that. It's impossible that you are that, because these thoughts come and they go. And what's left is you, always witnessing all of it. You witness the arrival and the arising within your consciousness. So therefore you are the consciousness that watches and observes. And this is the process. And the more you do that, the more you realize and recognize that you can't be that. So you're detaching from those thoughts and beliefs and ideas that are not helping you. And eventually that rope that's tightly wound around you begins to loosen naturally, and eventually will just fall away. It will just fall away. And then what you're left with is a more real, truthful understanding of yourself. Your truer essence is what will be revealed and show itself to you. Really, this process is beautiful. It can be painful, but it is beautiful all at the same time. Your understanding of yourself, you come to start realizing that you are the infinite one. You are the one constant. You are that constant. Yes, you will experience arisings within consciousness, within your consciousness, which is the universal consciousness. You will experience the arisings and you will experience them passing. All of that remains, but what becomes fundamental to you as you move through this process is the recognition that you are the constant. You are the love that you seek. You are the love that you seek. I cannot stress that one more strongly. And from that space of peace and stillness and silence, life becomes beautiful. These are not just concepts for spiritually minded people. This is life. This is human life. Okay, we're all seeking something. In spiritual circles, we would say that we're seeking the divine, or we're seeking union with God, or these are the things that we say. But in actual fact, this is just living. This is life. And some people may go through life experiencing some of these ideas and thoughts and concepts, but actually never have those spiritual labels of the divine or consciousness to give it. So I really want to stress as well that this is a very, very human, fundamental process. The process of awakening, enlightenment, all the other names that we call it, is fundamentally human. And I think what I've learned the most from this process and this experiencing and the deepening of this understanding for me is that the seeking takes you right back to yourself. It takes you right back to the human experience. We are not humans seeking God. We are God, aka consciousness, aka awareness, aka whatever label you choose to give it. We are that seeking it to understand or to experience itself through the human form. But that human form is not separate from that. It is that. It is consciousness itself. And then when you understand that and you have the recognition, and for me it was a very strong experiential recognition that everything in existence, everything in the objective world, including other people, even inanimate objects, are essentially consciousness. I cannot any longer subscribe to the idea that I am separate from anybody else. And when I see you, I no longer subscribe to the idea that you are your thoughts, beliefs, ideas and concepts. I see you as consciousness. I see you as me. So when I see you, I see a mirror. When I see your suffering, and I can understand that that suffering is only the suffering of the person that is the construct of the beliefs, ideas, thoughts, I understand that that is not you, and I understand that that suffering is not necessary, because who you truly are is absolute peace, absolute happiness, absolute love. That's who you are. I'm going to wrap it up, but I really just wanted you to hear those few words and that sharing from me. You are what you seek. You are that love. You are whole. I can't express that any further. Just understand the world is your mirror. Let me be your reflection in this video. This sharing is about, it's for you. The sharing is for you to use me as the reflection of you. Just as I do use the environment and the world around me with the understanding that it is me. And all I see is love. I'm going to leave you with that one. Stay warm, stay happy, stay peaceful. Reach out anytime any of you ever need to. I'm always here. Much love. Bye.